everything. Intelligence, expertise.
What other doors could be closed?
Hey, how much am I willing to give up? Stand commitment and are not committed to the struggle. Acquiescing to the struggle. They're committed.
Careful who you leave toeless.
Good morning, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in on you. I hope that you are off to a good start. Hope that you are having an awesome start to your week. Mine started yesterday. Actually had a great time and got to do some family time on yesterday, and so that's always fun for me. I've reached a point in time in my life where I've been able to do a lot of things, and it's the simple things in life that matter to me now. And just spending time with my family, spending time with my wife, my kids, my grandkids. Yeah, I cherish it in a way that is inexplicable. Hey, little sis. Hello, Sonia, Dion. I take these moments that can be so easily consumed by other endeavors and desires and all of these things that we chase on a daily basis. And I step away from that when I have time, and it doesn't have to be anything grand or special. It's just being in the presence of those you love the most and being able to share with them. And I want to encourage you to do that. So, normally Sundays are my first half of the day is just buried in getting myself together. Then I set up some time for the family. But we literally got out of the house yesterday. And I never really settled back into work when I got back in. I got some things that had to be done. And then I just took some time and kind of reflected on the day and reflected on what this means for me moving forward. It reminded me of the true motive for what I do and why I do it. And so that's so important. Yeah, and you're probably going, hey, man, it's Money Monday. What that got to do with, hey, what's going on, Erica? What does that have to do with Money Monday? Well, the whole thing about money is it's a mindset. It's that simple. It's a mindset, and it's the working out of the mindset through a process. And you can start from anywhere and get to anywhere. It's not magic. The process is not magic, and a lot of us lose ourselves in the get rich quick or the one offers. And, if I could just do this, I'm going to be rich. No, that's not the principle. The principle is built in a number of different ways. It's in practice. It's in giving. It's in gratitude. And it's in having the right mindset to receive. A lot of us have shut the doors of receiving because our thought processes are not conducive to receiving anything by way of abundance. And when I talk about abundance, I'm speaking so far beyond monetary and material gain that most people will be lost by the conversation. Monetary gain is a byproduct of personal, spiritual, emotional, and mental psychological abundance. It is in the way of emotional stability and abundance. It's relational abundance. And the thing is, when you suffer in one area, you tend to suffer in another, or you thrive in one area and you become empty in others. And either way, you become a product of your thinking. And so the thing that I try to teach my clients, and people I just share with, my children, people I pass by, and, there are times somebody just walks up to me, especially when I'm in a cigar shop, and just starts to talk to me. People know who I am at the cigar shop, so everybody will drop in and just kick up a conversation because they know that's the one place they're going to get fed free. And it's just conversation, and I do this in other places as well. Matter of fact, I'll be going to hang out with some brothers in the safe space later this evening, where we get to talk about things that men deal with, where there are not too many other places to talk about it. And and I'll share my love there as well. But here's the thing. Right here is where you win or lose. I don't care what's in your bank account. I don't care whether you're healthy physically or you're suffering with something physically. I don't care if you got a great marriage, poor marriage. I don't care if your kids are driving you crazy or they are lined up to do some exceptional and extraordinary things in their endeavors. What I'm telling you is you're winning and you're losing right here. This is where you are the captain, where you are the king, where you are the head, where you are the general, where you are the apex of dominance is here. You choose what comes in and therefore what comes out. Because what comes in consistently will work itself out by way of thoughts, by way of speech, by way of manifestation. So what's going on here? Well, the one thing we know now, there is a wealth of empirical data that suggests that the more negative you are, the more negative your life around you, the more negative your thoughts, the more negative things you produce. You are literally manifesting things with your thoughts. That's why it says, bringing every thought into captivity. Bringing every thought into why? It's casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. Bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ. What are we talking about? Bringing thoughts. In other words, you're getting what you're thinking. That's why the second most common command in the Bible is to guard your hearts and minds, which is your subconscious and your conscious. Your thinking. That's literally the second most persistent command in the Bible. The first is to know the Bible, to know the word. Well, not the Bible, because the Bible didn't exist when this was written, but to know scripture. To know it, to know it, to know it. Now, the problem is a bunch of people know it, but very few are applying it. See, there's a difference between having memorized something and having put it into practice. And that's where a lot of things are going wrong as well. But let's talk about the thought process. You see, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. As a man thinks. And why? Because the heart is in the Bible parallel to the human subconscious in contemporary talk and thinking. It's not your physiological heart. It's not some mystical emotional center. It is the thing that drives you the most. When something is in your heart, that's why Jesus said, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Out of the abundance of the subconscious, what is controlling your thinking the most will be the thing you talk about the most. What are you focusing your faith on? Because see, I have to teach people this as well. Everybody has faith. Say, no, Doc, everybody don't have, no, everybody has faith. It's the thing that the faith is focused on that's determining the outcome. See, you have faith that either you're going to succeed or fail. You have faith that either you're going to rise or fall. You have faith that either your marriage is going to work or it's not. And what faith expects, God and the universe produces. It's simply the way God feeds on faith. So what is your faith focused on? But see, it's hard to focus on something positive when your mind is being inundated and pervaded by negative thoughts. So the thing you've got to do is you've got to saturate your mind with positive thinking. How can you possibly expect to produce anything financial in the way of gain when everything going through your mind is about loss? You are manifesting what you are thinking. And then there are those that will tell me, I'm just a realist. I'm just a realist. I'm just a realist. I'm just looking at what's there and I'm being real. I'm not trying to fool myself. I'm not trying to lie to myself. No, you're just missing the whole point that you've been gifted with the ability to speak and call things that are not as though they were. You are a creator. You have the ability to literally speak it and manifest it. The problem is you're speaking and manifesting things you don't want because you're focused on things you don't want. But again, let's talk about saturating the mind with positive thinking. See, you got to have something that you become fixated on that is diametrically opposed to what you are fearing, what you are worried about, what you are anxious about, what you are struggling with in way of worry and concern. You've got to come up with an idea, an image, something you can look at, something that literally is visually in front of you, something that you can constantly speak about because you have literally visited it within your subconscious mind and experienced it at a level that it triggered an emotion. See, some people call it daydreaming. Other people call it an overactive imagination, but God gave it to you to create and manifest. See, if all you can sit up and do is live in what somebody else or something else created for you, you're totally without control and power. God gave you power. Power, love, and a sound mind. Power, love, and a sound mind. God gave it to you. So there's something inside of you that has the ability to overcome anything that you're going through right now, but you've got to have your mind aligned with the thoughts that produce it. You've got to saturate your mind, because see, where there's something positive existing, negativity has no space. My goal is to get my clients to literally thinking and engaging anticipation of something to come, more than they're focused, stressed, and worried about what's presently happening. And see, we're not built like that. We're built to be in the middle of whatever's going on. The problem is, if I'm in the middle of whatever's going on, I cannot possibly be manifesting anything else than what's got me caught up and consumed. I hear Christians all the time talk about let go and let God, but I don't see many allowing it. The problem is with that is that's only half the equation. Anytime that you see anybody that has done something great that's associated with God, they took action. They weren't just sitting around and waiting on God to happen. Even in the sense when God comes to Joshua and says, as I was with Moses, so shall I be with you. Only be of good courage. I will never leave you nor forsake you. But hey, I'll be with you. I'll stand with you, just as I was with Moses, so shall I be with you. Now there comes a point where Joshua is marching all night to go into battle with the Amalekites, or was it the Midianites? The Midianites, and he's marching, and they get there and they have battle. And the recollection of it says that, okay, they're at battle, they're at war, and Joshua and his army are winning. But it says on side of that, God killed more with hailstones than Joshua and his army did with the spear. He was fighting alongside them. But what did Joshua have to do first? Joshua had to go into battle. But Joshua went into battle with an expectation and an anticipation of winning. Why? Because he took to heart what he had been told. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Now, let's take it a little bit further. Same story. Late in the day, they're waging war and they're winning. But what they're finding is there's still a lot of these enemies that need to be killed, and they're running out of daylight in the enemy's territory. That can turn ugly quick. Number one is they can retreat and hide. You don't know where they're hiding at. That's their territory. They can also take strategic advantages and flank you, create other problems. So what does Joshua do? Does he go running to God, whining and complaining about how fast the day is going? No, Joshua again remembers that you said you would never leave me nor forsake me. As you were with Moses, you will be with me. Joshua turned and looked at the sun and said, sun, stand still. And the account says that the sun stopped moving. He didn't need anything but to apply what he already knew. But you've got to apply it with faith. And then I remember when John, wow, I can't believe it. As much as I studied this man, but it'll come to me. But I remember during the beginning of the Protestant movement, and that was this ongoing thing with John Whitefield and why is this man's name not coming? I can't believe it. But anyway, those who study study the history of the church know what I'm talking about. And it's going to come to me when I start talking and I stop trying to remember it. But anyway, he's studying and he's coming up with this idea, but he's having problems, and he's got this ongoing debate going across the pond. He's in England, and John Whitefield is in the colonies, and he's writing John Whitefield, and he's talking about his struggle with faith. And John Whitefield's response to this man's struggle with faith was, you got to preach faith until you have faith. Think about that. Anybody that's spoken as a minister, a preacher, a motivational speaker, an inspirational speaker, or just talking to someone trying to lift their spirits knows what this means. It means that you can be in a funk, but if you study, speak the truth, despite what the funk you in, that all of a sudden there's something that begins to rise in you. You can't explain it, but it started. Why? Because as you speak it, the energy changes. As you speak it, the expectations change. You're literally acting and operating in an environment that you're creating by your speech and by your expectations. John Wesley, I can't believe it took me, but John Wesley, known as the father of the Methodist Church. And John stood up and said, I'm struggling with my faith. And I love it because it's a man of God that many people are looking up to, and he's admitting that there are moments in which he's struggling with his faith. And I love John Whitefield's response. Preach it until you have it. What does that mean? That's so powerful. Why is it powerful? It's saying that you don't have to have, in other words, your responsibility to preach it isn't changed by the fact that you're struggling with it. Preach it until you have it. That the mechanism through which this operates and works is in you carrying out what you should be doing in the first place. Application. Don't wait until you get it, step into it. Don't wait until you get it, step into it. You've got to saturate your mind with positive thinking. Saturate your, but let me tell you something. When you've got negative things coming at you, for every positive thought you think, there'll be somebody in your circle. That's why you got to manage your circle. You got to guard your periphery. Why? Because there'll be somebody in your circle that has made it a lifelong career of finding things that are wrong. They'll constantly point out what's going wrong. They'll constantly point out why things can't work. They'll constantly point out that this is going to happen. They're constantly focused on the negative. And then you can't turn on your television. You can't log into your social media accounts without seeing more and more negativity. You've got to guard your gates. But I'm going to tell you a little secret that God blessed me with that keeps me steady. Because despite some of the things that I've been able to accomplish, life has not been no bed of roses. It hasn't been easy. It doesn't lie down for me. Not one day does life lie down for me. It's that I refuse to lie down for it that allows me to keep getting up and moving forward. I'm not going to be knocked down and stay down. I'll stop when I die. Other than that, I'm going to keep pushing for everything that I committed to. I'm going to get it or I'll die trying, but it will never be said that I backed off of it, I gave up, or I quit. No surrender, no retreat. But let me tell you this little thing, this little nugget God gave. See, if you want to guard your mind against negativity, coat your mind with gratitude. Saturate your thinking. Saturate your mind with positive, but coat it with gratitude. Gratitude pushes back negativity. You can't have a state of gratitude and be frightened. You can't have a state of gratitude and remain angry. You can't have a state of gratitude and be fearful. You can't have a state of gratitude and embrace defeat. You can't have a state of gratitude is the gateway to abundance. The problem is we've been trained to see what's wrong so intensely that we don't ever take inventory of what's right. Find a reason to be grateful. You're still breathing, reason to be grateful. You have a job, reason to be grateful. You have a family that loves you, reason to be grateful. You woke up breathing, reason to be grateful. You woke up with your right mind, being able to think and determine and discern what's right, what's wrong, what grateful. You got another opportunity to be impactful in the world this morning when you woke up and many didn't. Be grateful. Even if you don't have your full health, you have a measure of health and you have an opportunity to work on the part that's not right. Be grateful. You got a chance to change some things and reconcile some things and make right some things that you've done in the past. Be grateful. Gratitude chases out doubt. Gratitude chases out fear. Gratitude chases out bitterness. I've told you for years that God will meet you at the level of your expectations. The problem is you're expecting the wrong things. Saturate your mind with positivity. Coat it with gratitude. I wrote this earlier today and shared it on social media. If you think you don't have a reason to be grateful, come to Houston. Let me take you on a tour of the MD Anderson Cancer Wing. Let me take you down to the Shriners Hospital for Children. Let's go to Dallas and let me take you there where I worked and served and helped and did everything I could to meet a huge portion of the city's homeless population at the bridge. Let me take you to Los Angeles to Skid Row. Let me introduce you to some parents that I've known over the last 5 or 6 years who had to bury their children. You better be grateful. Because trust me, it can get a lot worse. Think yourself into abundance instead of despair. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. Live your life on full so that when you leave this place, you die on me. That's my challenge. I'm out.
From a conceptual perspective, people talk about success. All of the elements they think, intelligence, expertise.
What other doors could they close?
Hey, how much am I willing to give up and commitment and are not committed to the struggle? Acquiescing to the struggle, they're committed.
Careful who you leave.
Hello everybody, Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in right now. Thanks first of all. Second of all, I just need to really iterate the fact that we need your help. We need your support right now. We are pushing to hit a goal of $25,000 by the end of this week. That if we hit that goal, it'll help us cover our goals for the first quarter. It'll help us consistently continue to do what we're doing with Black Men Lead, Restoring Ghetto's Forgotten Daughters, our new program for providing mental health services and resources, and so much more that we've been doing consistently. Again, we need your support like we've never needed it before. Thank you in advance. You have a great day.